Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. There is a huge fight going on in the world right now. Start small. Learn about Bitcoin for just 1 minute a day. Your life will change as you do this. Even you, Scott, I've kind of followed your journey through this, and you're learning more about Bitcoin as you go. As far back as 3 years ago, I remember that this is a decentralized, safe, and energy-limited system. It doesn't matter what the government does about it. Bitcoin Bubble stands out because it is clear and easy to use. There's no limit to who can join, no matter how much they know about crypto or how new they are to it. Guess who is watching us now? Robert Kiyosaki is the author of the best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We'd also like to use this chance to thank everyone who put their trust in us. And we read all of them. It's also free, which is great. If you sign up now, you'll get all the new information for free. Stay ahead of the trends instead of just following them. Sign up for Bitcoin Boom right now and enjoy the new edge. Jeff Booth, an entrepreneur and best-selling author of The Price of Tomorrow, talks about the future of Bitcoin and why he quit paper money to go all in on Bitcoin in today's video. This means that a credit-based system can't have deflation, or it will fall apart. That's where this is getting mixed up. When it comes to Bitcoin, it is happening, not might be happening. You can look back at any point in the last 4 years and see that it has been happening. Just a bias in the way they measure it. So people who are moving to Bitcoin users are already in the future. They live in a free market where prices are going down. So nothing is going to change. It is getting worse because the current system is taking more, putting together more power, and making things worse. That's all you have to do. Bitcoin is an open, decentralized protocol that doesn't need approval. Set limits on energy. You can live in the future too if you change the time. It's now really simple. It is very hard to use Bitcoin. You and I talked about this before I wrote Finding Signal in a Noisy World because everyone was talking about altcoins and other things. Now it's all about layer 2s. And it was clear that they didn't know what Bitcoin is, a program. That's because it's based on energy and becomes more decentralized and safe every year. If you know that there's a protocol instead of a technology, you can see that it's what everything else is built on top of. You also don't have to worry about the noise that comes from the old system having to go through this change. Even though the price of Bitcoin has been volatile and FOD lows have been reached, there are a number of important signs that the bears may still be in control, pointing to a possible change in the direction of the BTC price. Bitcoin had a rough start to July. On July 7th, it dropped over 10.5% and was trading around $57,000. BTC fell as low as $53,550, mostly because people were afraid of a market dump because Midgox was still returning over 140,000 BTC to its customers, and the German government was liquidating BTC. The most recent drop in the price of Bitcoin happened at the same time that the Relative Strength Index RSI started to rise. This difference usually means that there is less pressure to sell, even though the price is still going down. In technical analysis, this situation often points to a possible reversal or slowdown in the current downtrend. This means that Bitcoin might soon experience a rebound as market mood turns back towards optimism. The bullish reversal situation is also supported by two other well-known technical indicators. First, on July 5th, Bitcoin made a positive hammer candlestick pattern. This pattern has a small body at the top of the daily candle, a long lower shadow, and a small upper shadow. In May, the same thing happened. Second, Bitcoin's daily RSI reading is close to 30, which is the point at which the index becomes oversold. This usually happens before a time of consolidation or recovery. Believes that this indicator could mean a rebound and that BTC could go back to its old range high of over $70,000. The chances that interest rates will go up in September make it even more likely that Bitcoin will restart its bull run in the coming weeks. CME data shows that as of July 7th, traders on Wall Street thought there was a 72% chance that the US Federal Reserve would lower interest rates by 25 basis points. A month ago, 46.6% of people thought the same thing would happen. When the job market gets weak, the Federal Reserve often thinks about lowering interest rates to get the economy going again. When interest rates go down, safe investments like US Treasury notes become less appealing, which is good for Bitcoin and other risky assets. Through history, this is all that you could say. You would steal some people's money from the free market over time if you could do it without them knowing through inflation, consolidation, or banks. When I worked in banks, I couldn't make enough money if the gold was pegged at 1-to-1, so I switched it to 2-to-1 or 1-to-2. And I have less and less gold, which is a way I could give a better return. The market narrows down to the person who can offer the highest return, which is what people value. The gold isn't there when I want it back. Either the bank goes out of business or the government steps in and tells everyone to hold. So where did the money come from that everyone gave you to make you whole? It was brought up by all taxes. That's why this comes together. You can see over time that if you had something that's centralized, it would be taken over by someone else, because taking over the free market is a great way to make a lot of money and power. No one would notice. They would lose about 2% in inflation. Every year, a few things are stolen from my house, but I don't notice. It has to keep getting worse because it adds up. So no one would notice. That's how they would grow up. They would ask their friend, "How do you get rich in that system? I own more things." They'd see their friends do it. They'd do the same thing. It would get worse and worse as all of these factors built up. This is something we know for sure about history. Also, when it breaks, you have to first split your society into two groups and make an enemy within each group. If you look at politics today, you have to make an enemy outside your country, because that doesn't work. To get a high inflation rate, you also need to get your people to go to war. You start over with the new currency if you win the war and say you won't do it again. Then it starts all over again. Because we know we'll cheat, that lens could be used to look at the whole past of people. That won't happen again because that claim can't be cheated. That also has to do with child rights. People are so used to trusting institutions to keep them safe that they don't even notice when they're trying to steal their money. I think you've talked about this on your show before. On top of a system that is set up to steal, we have rules that protect our money. Yes, we think that's safe. It's crazy. When you look at Bitcoin self-custody through that view, it seems hard because you have to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself more than you trust the system. You need to do the work to make sure that you, your family, and everyone else is safe. But once you do the work, you realize how different it is and how that process is so different from everything we've ever seen or done before. This makes you want to devote more time and energy to it. After 2 days of withdrawals, money started coming back into the US-based spot Bitcoin Exchange Traded Funds, ETF. This is another sign that the BTC market is likely to go up. When the US posted low unemployment rates on July 5th, according to statistics from Farsight Investors, these funds brought in a total of $143.10 million worth of Bitcoin. This shows that Wall Street investors are becoming more willing to take risks. With $117 million, the Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund led the way in new money. There was a net inflow of $30.2 million into the Banoise Bitcoin ETF. There were also inflows of $11.3 million and $12.8 million into the ARK21 shares Bitcoin. On the other hand, $28.6 million left the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust unclaimed. A recent rise in the USM2 supply gives Bitcoin more signs that things are going to get better. The USM2 supply tracks the money supply and includes cash, checking deposits, and easily convertible near money like savings deposits, money market securities, and other time deposits. The M2 money quantity grew by about 0.82% from one year to the next. This slowed the